Shalom, family, and welcome once again to another Shabbat Night Talk. My name is Tifuziel Ben Lewi. I usually say Uziel Ben Lewi. I'm one of the teachers at Congregation BINAH, CHOKMAH, BINAH. Thank you, the Most High King, for another holy Shabbat day. This Erev Shabbat, thanking the Creator for my life and the life of Yisrael scattered in the four corners of the earth. Thanking the Creator for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, food, clothing, and shelter. I'm thankful to this great King for my life, the life of all of you, and hoping and praying that the Creator will continue to be with us wherever we might be scattered in the four corners of the earth, that the Most High God would even hear our prayers, hear our cries, hear our supplications, and that the Most High will continue to be with us all wherever we might be, that the Most High God will grant us all the blessings of life that we desire in righteousness, that the Most High God will help us in all of our endeavors. Shabbat Shalom, Julie Figueira, Moradina, Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom to you all. And I'm thankful for this day. Let me open up Facebook, see what we could do over here on Facebook. It's a blessed day. It's a Shabbat day, and we should be glad and rejoice therein. We must be grateful to this great King for life, for the food that we had on this Shabbat day. We must be thankful to this great King for everything that he does for us. And we must always recognize that he's the one that provides for us. He's the one that protects us. He's the one that looks out for us, and is always there for us. You know, we must be grateful to the Creator for that, and always remember that we wouldn't be anything without his mercy. So let's be thankful to the Most High God. I'm trying to set up Facebook here. Excuse me as I do that. So how's everyone feeling out there? I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone has had a pleasant day. I had to kind of wait a little bit longer. I was going to start a little bit earlier, but then I had to look at the times, like I had to look at the times and see what time the sun goes down in certain parts of the world, you know, because or of the country. I said the world, of the country, because if I would have started too early, some people would not have been into the Shabbat day. Well, I know in the West Coast, I don't think the sun is down yet out there, like in California and places like that. I'm not sure, but in the East Coast, Midwest, places like that, I believe that we are in darkness now. So let's just start our Facebook. 3, 2, 1. Shabbat Shalom to everyone joining us on Facebook Live, and to everyone that's already on YouTube. Thank you the Most High God for this day. For people on Facebook Live, I was already on YouTube. So anybody on YouTube that wants to know our Facebook page is the same thing, Beit Da'at CHOKMAH BINAH. You could join us there. That's basically our Facebook. It's the same thing as our YouTube. And that's what it is. Let me just do a little work over here. Oh, our condolences go out to the family of our brother Mordecai, whose father passed away this week. Our heartfelt condolences to my brother. If you're listening right now, may the Most High God bring your family peace. May the Most High God bless all of you guys. And I know in this time, which is a tough time, sometimes we, especially when we lose a parent, it's not an easy thing. So my heartfelt condolences to you, my brother. And I'm praying that Yah will bring you peace. All right. So that's our brother who congregates with us sometimes. He's from congregation BINAH, but he comes and congregates with us sometimes. So definitely a major loss for him and his family, and hoping and praying that Yah would be with him and his family in their endeavors and bless them. You know, that's the most that you could do. We could say, we hope that Yah continue to be with our brother Mordecai and his family. Now I'm just sharing everything on the different lives. Give me 1 second here. Messed up on one here. It's all right. So as I'm waiting for people to come on, once again, how was everyone's week? I hope that everyone had a blessed week. I hope that everyone is in good spirits, and that everyone is mindful of all the things that are happening around you. Being aware is very important, because being aware is what helps us to stay alive, basically. Most High tells us, well, the Torah or the Tanakh, the Proverbs, it tells us to use discretion, to be aware of our surroundings, to know what's around us, and to understand the things that are happening, to avoid situations and confrontations, which is very important for us, you know, as a people, as God's people, keeping the commandments and doing the things that we're supposed to do. So I think that's very important for us to keep, to acknowledge, to know, to understand, to be able to use discretion in all the things that we do in our lives, and be aware of the pitfalls that are right before us, that are around us, and to be able to circumvent those pitfalls and get around them. There's many pitfalls. There's many things that cause us to err. So we need to be on top of those things and to understand that sometimes we need to take a step back. We need to take a step back, take a deep breath, and just realize what's happening around us. Sometimes we might be trying to force a situation, but the Most High God helps us out and try to divert us from certain situations. And sometimes we don't listen to the message, but Yah is great, in all things and everything. Yah is great, and we must be grateful to Him all the time, for all His greatness and the things that He does for us. So I'm thankful to Him for my life, for food, clothing, and shelter, for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, for the growth of me and advancing and understanding that there are greater things in life than just the things that we think the things that we think are great, and to opening up, our eyes and understanding that His wisdom is infinite, and the things that He reveals to us is for us not just to see them, but for us to also take action and the things that we're supposed to do. So I'm thankful to the Most High God for the good and the bad, for all the things that He's provided for me in my life, the good and the bad, like I said. And because through the bad or through bad experiences, you learn. They become a teacher to us. So, that's the thing about bad experiences. Sometimes we curse the bad experiences, but sometimes the Creator is preparing us for something, and we don't even know what it is, but He's really preparing us for something. And sometimes we're cursing the lesson, but that's what it'd be. It'd be a lesson. So I'm thankful to the Creator for the good and the bad, the things that I've learned throughout my life, that have prepared me for who I am today. And I'm still learning. I'm still navigating through life, and we all still navigating through life. If you meet an Israelite that knows it all, or just so certain about life and situations and things of that nature, then that's an Israelite that really, really, really is not learned. We have to be learned. We have to gain wisdom and understanding and walk in the path of righteousness. And those are important things for us to know and understand. All right, so those things are important. Those things are necessary. Those things are vital for life and understanding. All we could do is walk in the path that the Most High God left for man to walk in. Pray that God would be merciful to us and extend our lives, and we'd be able to raise our children up and serving this great King. And it's a struggle. It's not easy, but you have to be in accord with Torah, and you have to be able to see what's in front of you, what's before you, and you got to be able to glorify this great King. Understand and know that this great King is there for us, and wait on Him and understand Him. All right, so those are the important things. Once we begin to do those things, then we begin to grow as a people. Growth is important. Never be stagnated in a situation, right, where your mind is not able to grow. Now, for your mind to grow doesn't mean that you have to accept wrong or you have to accept things that are outside of Torah. But what I mean, letting your mind grow and expand, is like you have to be able to see certain things, right? Like if I'm teaching something about for example, the New Testament, and because we're not New Testament followers. We are Torah based, right? We only live by the law, statutes, and commandments of the Old Testament, the Torah. But in order for me to make a statement about the New Testament, or be able to break down what I'm talking about and make my points, I have to read the New Testament in order to understand what is it, or bring across what is it that I'm trying to bring across. Or else I'm just talking and I'm not building, or I'm not able to bring forth a message to make people understand, because I don't know what I'm talking about, because I didn't read what the actual text is saying, right? So if I'm trying to show a contradiction, if I'm trying to show something, I actually have to read the book, right? So in order for us to expand and for our minds to grow, we have to go outside of our comfortable circles and our comfortable boxes and be able to grow. And then you will understand that the things that we tug and we fight and we argue over are minute in comparison to what's going on outside in the world. The world is much more larger than our own little segments of the world that we live in. The world is large, and if you go out there and you experience this world, then you will see that God made this earth vast, and all the people on the earth are his people, right? I was hearing and establishing us as a people. When I mean us, I mean the children of Israel, and us understanding and having this understanding. We know that this understanding comes from the Most High. But then us as Black people on the earth, and there might be non-Blacks listening to us right now, that's fine, but I'm talking about Black people on the earth. Since Western influence has influenced the earth, they have made us, or tried to make us, inferior, on this earth. It's like I heard Dr. I think his name is Neil deGrasse Tyson, something like that. He's like a what do you call those people? He like studies like the universe and stuff like that. But he said something that was very interesting. He said, when the Europeans came down to the west coast of Africa, all they seen Black people. So when they came and got us, they automatically, we became inferior because they were the masters and we were being brought into bondage. So automatically the Western mentality of white being superior was being implemented at that point. But he said something. He said, but if everything came from the continent of Africa, or every human being on the earth came from a Black person, then in Africa you have to have all of the elements that make a human being. So he said in Africa, you find the tallest people, which is the, I believe it's like the Watusi or one of those people. And he said you also find the shortest people, which are the pygmy. You also find the people with the biggest, you know, he went down the line with the biggest behinds, with the flattest, with the, he just broke down like all these phenotypes. He was like, even with phenotypes, you find, he said, you find the long distance runners on the east coast of Africa, and the fast runners is on the west coast of Africa, right? So he was just saying, he said, no matter what they tried, he was like, outside of skin complexion, which we understand now through genetics, that was an effect of when those people left that continent and went north, and because they were dwelling in caves, that the body no longer needed that melanin to protect it from the sun, because they were in wet and damp environments that did not have much sun. So the body went through adaptation and was able to adapt and be able to change the skin complexion. But he was talking about phenotypes and all that stuff. He was saying that all that comes from the continent. All that is there. So, and then he said when the European came, you know, into the pyramids, because they can't figure out or they can't see a black society being able to do something that they still can't understand to this day. Remember, they can't understand how the pyramids were built. What was the mechanism? I was looking at something on the History Channel, and they went through all these things. You know, was it a ramp? Was it an internal ramp? They don't know how the Egyptians were able to create this. So what he was saying is, because they didn't know how the Egyptians were able to create this, they automatically now said it couldn't have been black people, you know. So it was some alien form that came from outside the universe and came and built the pyramids. Just because through their racist way of teaching or putting things forth, they could never give us credit as a people. So we have to be aware, because our battle sometimes is more than just with society or somebody from another race, but it's in the way that institutions were already set up to be racist against us, right? They never look back into history and when I'm speaking like this, I'm talking generally like black people, because we fall under the category of black people, besides us just doing Torah and understanding Torah, but we fall in the category of black people. So we fall under that basket, right? And basically what it is like us as black people could never be great. You know, when we were already great, or black people were already great before they even came over here, before the European was even civilized. So those are the things that we have to keep in mind. That civilization in the world came through us. What they call the humanoid genes, or this is what they science came up with. It remains in Africa, but in Europe, Europeans are mixed with the Neanderthal genes. So all the things that they said about us being animals, us coming from apes and us evolving from apes, those were all racist things that were taught to have a superiority over us, and to make us feel like we are on the lower level. He also said about intelligence, he said you could find the smartest person in Africa and you could find the dumbest person in Africa. So he said, when we talk about Albert Einstein, and he's given the the credit of being like one of the most intelligent people on the earth. He was basically saying he said we even haven't found we haven't accredited the most intelligent person on the earth yet, because we haven't gone into Africa and given somebody that opportunity. He said because everybody originates from there, so the smartest person that ever is or was will have to come from there. And then when we look at King Solomon, and the Most High God says that the wisdom of Solomon said no one was wiser than him before him, and no one shall be wiser than him after he dies. So we have men like King Solomon who come from the continent, because Israel is in Northeast Africa. So that's part of the continent. So those are the things that we look at and we research, and I hope I'm not going into I know sometimes I go into a diatribe and I start losing everybody, but sometimes I listen to things and certain things resonate with me, and that's cool. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of science, because I know that science connects us closer to our Creator. You know what I mean? So I'm not afraid of science. People are afraid of science, or science doesn't coincide with Torah. Yes, it does. It's not nothing spooky. It's not anything that we need to run away from. Science definitely coincides with Torah, and I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of science. No, Rabbi Shalom told me that he wanted to do something with science. We never got to link up with that, but hopefully we could get to do it in the future when he has time, where he could link up science with the Torah. I think is cool, So we got people here. So I'm thankful to the Creator for all things and everything. And let me see here. Trying to see who's. Let me put my glasses on. I'll be over here squinting, and I got the glasses right in front of me. Let me just put them on, clean them up, and put them on. All right. Yeah, mutation. So, we as God's people, we go through so much, but it's all right because we persevere. We're strong as a people, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. You take the good and the bad. Shalom, shalom to everybody on Facebook. Shabbat shalom to you all. Everybody is listening on Facebook. Shabbat shalom to you all. All right. So we grow. And the faster that we understand that we're all the same, like the same people. Some of us might come a lighter complexion, might come with a little straighter hair. I went down to Puerto Rico a few years back. And the good thing that I love about the people from Puerto Rico, right? They have a rich history of who they are, right? So you go down to Puerto Rico, they automatically tell you, we are a mixture of the colonizer, right, which was the Spaniards, the Taino, and the African slave, right? And for most part, when they do the DNAs and stuff like that, most people that come from Puerto Rico got some sort of percentage of, you know, European, you know, Iberian Peninsula. They have the quote unquote African gene, and they have the and they have some Taino. Not all, but a greater part of the mixture of the people in Puerto Rico have that, you know. And that's great because they accept, a lot of the people, they accept their quote unquote African, you know, heritage, while some other people for some other places, they don't accept it. They don't want to be associated with anything but, man, that's the richest land with the richest minerals and the richest everything in it. You know, Solomon was sending people down to what was it there that he was getting his I gotta read that history again. But I know he was getting gold and diamonds, and he was getting gold. I mean, it didn't say anything about diamonds, but he was getting gold. You know, King Solomon was getting gold. And you know that gold was not cheap. So we have a strong connection with the land. Our forefathers married Canaanites and Egyptians and Canaanites. Believe Judah had Tamar was a Canaanite. That was his daughter-in-law that tricked them into having to having the children. You had Joseph with the Egyptian woman, his two sons. You have Moses with the Ethiopian woman. So our history is intertwined. I heard Rabbi Paris do a talk on this. He said, and you get a chance, you could check it out. I believe it's on my Uzi Alewi channel, or it might be also on this D.C.B channel under the playlist called Gone But Not Forgotten. Look up Rabbi Paris. And he said he was saying basically he doesn't understand how he's from the Black Jew community. He was, but he's gone now. May the Most High God bless his memory. He said, well, I don't understand how Jews became white. He said it's harder to find somebody that you could say is white in the Bible, you know what I mean, than to find somebody that's black. You know what I'm saying? Because we was all mixed in with Canaanites and with people from that they say quote unquote or that comprise, the Canaanites comprise all the African tribes, which I don't believe, but that's what they say. You know what I mean? So if that's the truth, then we did more mixing with Canaanites and quote unquote Africans than anybody else as Israel, because we was a Shemitic people, but we mingled with them. You know, David had Absalom with a Sidonian, which were Sidonians were Canaanites. You know, so we can't deny what we are, who we are, and the things that we are. You know. Wow. Sean OT said, I've been called nigga more by Puerto Rican people than white, and I'm Afro-Latino. Those are the ignorant ones, the ones that hate the fact that if you look in their DNA, they like 30% African, Ivory Coast or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but you got them everywhere. You know what I mean? You got them everywhere because over there, they also taught them that separation. If you were lighter, that you were better. you know, but you got a lot of Puerto Ricans that, or quote unquote people that are called Puerto Ricans, because I also believe that a large number of them are our brothers and sisters, and that they grew up in the struggle and they understand like no difference between me and you, although I got a lighter skin or whatever, you know, because you go through the same heartaches and the same pains. But it's a point of re-educating our people, getting our people back on the page of understanding and knowing, you know, and just being in the frame of mind of accepting what you are and who you are. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that we have to be on top of. So my brother Mordecai, once again, my condolences, my brother. I don't know if you was on earlier, but my condolences. May the Most High God bless you and keep you and your family and your time of loss. And really, really hoping that the Most High God will bless you, my brother. Hallelujah. So, yeah, so I don't know, sure. He said, seriously, Chief, it's terrible. They're very racist. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, but we thankful to the Most High God for wisdom. So last week I went into the Apocrypha and I spoke about the respect and the honor of parents by a child, right? So now I want to reverse it a little and speak about how parents, because last week I spoke about how children should treat parents, right? So now I'm going to go into Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha, chapter 30. And the reason why I kind of go into the wisdom in Ecclesiasticus is my father-in-law, may the Most High God bless his memory, Chief Amos ben Yehuda. He was a Judite, right? And he always drilled us. He's often forgotten in history for whatever reason, you know, he doesn't get too many mentions. And he was an integral part of a lot of the people that you see teaching, you know, like a lot of people that he taught, and he was a man of great wisdom and understanding. So a lot of the teachers that you see today learn underneath him, got a lot of wisdom from him, along with other teachers, you know. But Chief Amos definitely was one of those brothers that stood above a lot of people. And I'm gonna leave it at that, because of his wisdom just separated him. And these are the kind of precepts he stayed in that he always drilled us on. He wouldn't, when we were young men, 18, 19, 20, we used to like partying. And he would do something like, we had a camp on here in Brooklyn, New York, on a street called Nostrand, on a street called St. John's and Nostrand, right on the corner. If you know that, if you know over there, there's a laundromat right over there, and right above the laundromat on the corner, right there, we used to be right on top there. That used to be our camp. And we'd be like coming up to the camp on a Saturday night, like after Shabbat, we'll go home, change, and come back. And Chief Amos would look at us, and we just come by there because that was the camp. It was always open. And we'll come by there, and he will see us. He'll see we dressed up. We ready to hit the town. He knew, you know, just that youthful thing. Like, he just understood it. So he'll be there because he was like a camp dweller. He had a family, but the camp was like his life. There was always some food going on in there. they were doing exercise, doing something, right? So we'd be in there, we come up there, what's up? And we used to call him Most. He wasn't caught up on titles. He wasn't caught. If you called him Chief, it was all right. If you called him Amos, it was all right. If you called him Most, it was all right. It was like he just showed that, you know how Biggie say, like, spread love is the Brooklyn way. He was just that way. You know what I mean? He was just one of those type of laid back type of brothers with a smile on his face. But we'll come up there young. We about ready to hit the town, and he'd be like, all right, Most, we about ready to, you know, head out. He'd be like, hold on for a second. Come over here. Hey, go to the store down on Fulton Street. Now, St. John's and Fulton Street is like, it's not like a walk that you know, you got corner stores like right next to where the camp was at, but he wants you to go to St. John's. He wants you to go down to Notion and Fulton Street to go get something specially from there. So you will go down there, you will jog, try to get back. And you could be like, all right, Most, here it goes. He'd be like, oh, all right. And, you know, New York City, stores stay open like 24/7. So it's not like other towns where you better get your stuff by a certain time. And now New York City, stores are always open. You could always go find something, a restaurant, something is always open. 2, 3 in the morning, you coming back from somewhere, restaurant is open. Something is open, you could eat, you could do whatever right after the party or whatever. So be like, yeah, go down to Fulton Street and get me this, and you come back. And then he'd be like, yeah, hold on, y'all. I know y'all ready to go, but hold on. He'd be like, he'd be talking with someone, and you can't be disrespectful because he told you hold on. So the time is ticking. You came there like at 10 o'clock. The party don't get going till about 12:30 at night. So you like, all right, you got there at 10 o'clock. It's still 11 o'clock. You still making good time. We get on the train. We hit Manhattan, and we good to go. He'd be like, hold on. So he talking with somebody for like a half an hour. Now it's like 11:30. And he'd be like, oh, hey, go down to the corner store and get me some ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, he just stalling tactics. Get yourself one too. You know, you come back, you don't really want ice cream, but you eating it because he there with you. And then the next thing you know, it's like 11:45. You like, oh man, the lines are going to get too long. What's going on here? And then he start talking to you. He just start dropping wisdom, and he start coming out the book. And before, like, you just couldn't walk away. You just couldn't walk away. So it was like, before you know, it was 1 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, and it was like, you're not going to no club. And what he was trying to teach us is like, all those things are vain. All you're gonna find there is heartache and pain. You know what I mean? You're gonna find something wrong. You're gonna get yourself into something that you're not supposed to be getting into. You're gonna be like, you're gonna be in there messing around with somebody's wife. You're gonna be in there, brother. It was just a lot of stuff that he would tell us. So that's how it was, you know. That's how it was, you know. We were just like, that man was like full of wisdom, you know what I mean? And he passed it down. And because I was the recorder, I used to record everything. I got like a bunch of his teachings, like on the D.C.B channel on Gone But Not Forgotten. You could kind of feel his wisdom, you know, coming through, right? So you look for Chief Amos Ben Yehuda. You will see like some caricatures of him that his son created, like how he looked or whatever. But he was far from a caricature. He was about wisdom and respect, and he was a leader, and he didn't even call himself a leader. You understand what I'm saying? Like when you know that someone is a leader, when you know that somebody is the head of the pack, but they don't have to say it because it's understood, because everybody respects them that way. That's who he was. He was a man of honor and respect. Everybody respected him. You know, everybody respected him. So I definitely miss him. And but that's what it was. So a lot of times when you hear us speak on wisdom, and a lot of us come into the Apocrypha, it was like him who was like the biggest influence. And we had other teachers, you know, that were really good. But, you know, I'm talking about him because he's no longer here. And it seems like sometimes if you don't mention people like this, that they get lost through the annals of times, because we forget to mention them. We forget to speak about them and forget to acknowledge them. But there's not a day that goes past that I don't think about him. And that's real. Like, there's not a single day, and he's been gone for, is it this year? No. This year makes 21 years since he's been gone. And I could honestly say there's not a single day that goes past that I don't think about him. That's real right there. Like having love for a person. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful to the Most High that he let me be in his presence. And I'm not saying like he was a perfect man. He was far from being perfect. He had his flaws, but the kind of impression that he had on my life and on the life of many of us was great, was magnificent, you know. And that was like at the beginning, you know what I mean? That was like at the beginning. And regardless of whatever moves, I'm talking personally, like with me, moves I might have made, he showed me love. You know, he showed me love, like no matter what. So really love and respect that man, and may his memory be blessed forever. So now concerning children, right, and how parents should deal with them. We're going into the book of Ben Sirach, the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, verse 1. Hallelujah. He who loves his son will whip him often, so that he may rejoice at the way he turns out. So whipping is a tactic or discipline, what they call a corporal punishment or whatever it might be. That's something that many of us who come from the old school, we know, right? Our parents didn't play with us. They didn't tell us things twice. They whipped us and set us in line. I heard someone said something that was very important. They said, I wish that, in fact, I was listening to an interview with many of you that know, maybe guys that might know. You used to look at WCW back in the days, but the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, he was doing the interview. I was listening to him and trying to understand what he was talking about. And he was saying, you know, with his children, he wished that he would have been more of a parent than a friend. That's very important. That we need to be parents rather than friends to our children. If we learn to be parents to our children, then you won't blur the line, and they learn to respect and honor you, right? So, in becoming a parent, sometimes you got to do things that you don't like. You know, no parent really likes whipping their children. And a person who likes doing that, they're sadistic and they have a mental issue. It pains parents more to whip their children than it hurts them children. Them children think that they be hurt. The parents really be hurt. it pains you to go through that because you get angry. Sometimes parents get angry and whip you with anger, and that's not good either. But you have to do it in order that they walk in a good path, and that they won't embarrass you later, or they won't embarrass themselves later in life, if you understand what I'm saying. So every time that our parents put it on us, it wasn't necessarily that we that they hated us or they didn't like us, but it was because they didn't want us to go in the wrong path. They didn't want us to go in the wrong path. So that's the discipline of parents. It says, so that he may rejoice at the way he turns out. Because with the discipline, then you don't create a monster, but you create a better child. He who disciplines his son will profit by him and will boast of him among acquaintances. So when you discipline your son or your daughter, it's speaking about sons, but this is synonymous. Just like last week, it was talking about father and mother, separating them, but this is synonymous, right? When you discipline them, right? Says by him and will boast of him among his acquaintances. Then you could talk good about your child because you know what you have in your hand. And discipline goes even beyond for when they little and when then you stop, because it comes to an age where you're not putting your hands on them anymore, right? So, but the teaching continues because they make mistakes. They do things, and now we living in the time of social media, where on social media they get to do and say what they want to say and do, and there's still a correction there. There's still, sir, hey, what you putting on social media? Why are you writing like that? Why are you using that type of language? The correction doesn't end. You continue to correct and you continue to teach, because they're going to make mistakes and they're going to do things that make you upset, but we have to be on top of it. You know what I mean? We have to be on top of it. It says here, he who teaches his son will make his enemies envious and will glory in him among his friends. So you teach your son discipline, righteousness, what's good, the difference between good and bad. So your enemies are going to be envious of you, because only your enemies will be envious as someone that you disciplined and brought up in the right way, right? So your enemy is going to be, oh, who he think he is? He think his son is all this, or he think he's all that. No, it's you trying to do that which is good and right, and will glory in him among his friends, and you'll be able to rest assured that this boy is okay. This boy is all right. You could put your guards down and relax, because he or she are not going to bring you any embarrassment. It says here, when the father dies, he will not seem to be dead, for he have left behind him one like himself. So when your father dies, right, it will not seem like he's dead. You know why? Because if the father was good, then most likely the son is good. And he's going to train his son to do that which is good and right, and to look out for the poor, the needy, to be humble, to be meek. You could also teach your son to be arrogant, to be hard-headed, to be callous, to disrespect elders. In Israel, there was never this thing where you disrespected elders. That's something new in Israel, where children can actually walk past people that saw them grow, right? And just don't say anything, act like that person means nothing. Those are the things that are happening now, but it was never like that before. You know what I'm saying? And you could see the people who train their children in the right way, you know, or you get the people, or you can see the people who teach their children to carry on their fights and their grudges, for lack of a better word. Get what I'm saying? So we have to be so on top of those things and understand that God is watching every which move that we're making, right? And we have to be on top of it. And we have to be careful with the actions that we take. It says here, whom in his life he looked upon with joy, and at death without grief. So you know what it is? Like your father could look at you in life and just get joy out of you. And when when he dies, you don't have to be grieving like, oh, what's going to be of this boy? What's going to be of this girl? You know, so those are the things that we have to do. We have to discipline them in order that they walk in the right path, that they won't depart from it, and that they do that which is right before the creator of heaven and earth. Those are the things that we have to do. When we do those things, we be all right, because we could set the child on the right path. You know, you have to prepare their future. That's our jobs as parents. We have to set their futures. The problem is we too often let them wander off and do what they want to do. You got a daughter, be on top of your daughter. You got a son, be on top of them. Every now and then you get those who become headstrong and do what they want to do. Then they have to live their lives, and you can't kill yourself over that. But as for the ones who listen and doing that which is right, those are the ones that you train and that you try to put in the right path. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that you train and you try to put in the right path. It says here, he have left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one to repay the kindness of his friends. It's like King David, right? When he died, he said, hey, don't forget, what was his nephew name? Joab. And don't forget that other guy that cursed me. Forgot that guy's name. Who cursed me, who said that I was just a servant. Said, don't forget him, right? Those were David's enemies because they did that which was contrary to what David was doing, right? So those are the things that you definitely have to think about when you're raising up your children. You know, what are you leaving behind? What kind of legacy are you leaving behind? Without proper discipline, there is no love. That's right. That is absolutely correct. And one to repay the kindness of his friends. So if you got friends, when you leave your son behind, he's gonna look out for your friends and repay the kindness of them, you know, and be on top of certain things. It says here, whoever spoils his son will bind up his wounds and will suffer heartache at every cry. You spoil them. You don't let them earn the things that they get. You don't put them to work. You don't do certain things. At the end, you're going to be binding up their wounds because they're going to feel entitled and they're going to be spoiled. And that's the problem that we run into. Me included. And when I speak about it, it's because I know what I had to go through growing up. I earned everything that I got. The Most High God gave it to me, but I had to work. It wasn't just handed to me. I worked for everything, but we get this idea that I'm not, you know, when my children come, I'm going to give them a better opportunity than what I had. Great. But when you give them that opportunity, make them work for it. Don't just hand it to them. Don't just hand them the keys to the Maserati. You know what I mean? Let them learn how to wash the Pinto with all the dents in it. and let them learn how to drive with that, and let them learn how to take care of that. You know what I mean? And let them learn how to know how to go about and going to get that Maserati. Don't hand everything to them. Don't spoil them. Because once you spoil them, then they're going to be binding up their own wounds because you spoiled them and you didn't instill in them proper morals, proper ethics, the things that they need to survive. You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that we have to be on top of, and these are the things that we have to understand. We can, you know, it's easy. Even if we have it much better than what our parents had it. We have to be on top of this. You got to make them shovel snow. You understand what I'm saying? You got to make them take out the garbage. You got to make them wash dishes. You got to make them do certain things so that they understand that you have to earn everything that you get. You just don't get it. You just don't get Jordans because Abba or Ima could afford them, and because you asked them for them. No, where them grades at? And besides those grades, I told you to clean your room, and your room is not clean yet. And those are minor things. You understand what I'm saying? When we go further down in this, it's going to show you what you're really supposed to do with them. But because we live in this society, we've been brainwashed to think like, oh, you got to give the children freedom to express themselves and to be independent. How can a child be independent when they're so dependent on you? A child cannot be independent living in your house because they are dependent on you. It's impossible. No one could tell me that a child could be, oh, you know, it's independence and you got to do this and you got to do that. No. A child cannot be independent in your house. Child has to have discipline in your house. That's what a child has to have. It says here, an unbroken horse turns out stubborn, and an unchecked son turns out headstrong. So an unbroken horse, right? You ever see those wild horses when they can't break them? They're stubborn. You know, you riding them for a second, next thing you know, he bucks and throws you off of him, right? He's not disciplined. He's not trained. That's what an unchecked son is. You let him keep going. You let him keep going. It says David did not tell his son good or bad, Amnon. And look at what Amnon did. He raped his own sister, Tamar. He raped her because he was never checked. So even in our history, it shows us like certain kings did certain things. Certain people did certain things. And there's an example. So if we don't check our children, when you see certain things, always put the discipline of, I know it's cute in this society, you know, brothers fight amongst brothers, sisters fight amongst sisters, whatever it is. Oh, that's just how they are. You know, kids argue. They do things like that. You're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to stop that because that's what they're going to do. They argue, whatever. But you have to put some type of rules and regulations in the house when it comes to children. Because if you have like older children or older daughter, your daughter might be the oldest, or you might have an older son. The younger ones have to, especially if that older son is a good son and he's disciplined, they have to learn to listen and to respect. And what I mean by that, they have to be able to listen to their older siblings because you might not be there one day. And if the younger ones run amok and they don't listen to the older ones, then that means you have an unruly child. So therefore, you have to set a discipline in your house that when I'm not here, when Ima's not here, then when your brother talks to you and you don't listen to him, then you're going to have to deal with me when I come home. And that way, that discipline and that respect is sent down the line. these are all different little things that we could do in order to help our children to learn that which is right and to do that which is right, which is most important, right? That's most important, to do that which is right. That's most important. It says here, pamper a child and he will terrorize you. Play with him and he will grieve you. It don't mean literally you can't play with your children. It means like play with him. Like when you're supposed to be disciplining him and you playing around, no, discipline. It don't mean that you can't laugh with your child. You can't do any of that. It doesn't mean that. But we know what I mean when you say, I'm not playing with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not joking with you. I'm not laughing with you. I'm serious. Because a lot of times, you know, children, when they do something wrong and they trying to finesse you, right? They'll be like, oh, you know, I'm just playing. And you be like, well, I'm not playing. I'm serious. And I hope that you take me seriously. And the next time you do it, it's going to be some consequences and repercussions. And that's just how it is, you know. So we can't play with them when it comes to a time of discipline or when we have to correct them. We have to do that which is right before the Most High God. All right? Those are things that we have to be on top of. It says here, pamper a child and he will terrorize you, and play with him and he will grieve you. You will have one of the worst children in the world. Right? Some of the worst children in the world, excuse me. Do not laugh with them, or you will have a sorrow with them, and in the end you will gnash your teeth. In the end, you're going to just be like, I should have just, I should have done this, I should have done that, because you thought that you had a better idea. Parents are parents, children are children. That's what it is, right? And you have to be on top of it as a parent. Give him no freedom in his youth, and do not ignore his errors. In their youth, give them no freedom. Give them no freedom in their youth. All right? In their youth, when you say do this, that's what they got to do. When you say jump, they need to ask you how high. That's how it is. Only in this time in this time in history do the children have it so easy. Just think about if you were living in Israel and you were a farmer and you had a 7-year-old son. Today we think of 7-year-olds and we say, 7-year-old son, and he's too young, he's still maturing, he's not, all right. Our forefathers that was in that antebellum South, right? That lived during that antebellum South, right? That was before the Civil War. Before, we were quote unquote free. I don't know at what age you went out there and picked cotton, but I'm sure, I know at 7 years old, at 8 years old, I used to cut grass. So I'm sure picking cotton and going out to work at the fields during that time, 7, 8 years old, that they were doing that. So when we look at our children today, and at 7, 8 years old, we look at them, oh, he's just a child, she's just a child. No. The house chores and the certain things in the house still have to be done. They're able bodies. You teach them and you make them go to work. You know what I'm saying? You bow their necks from early. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? You bow their necks from early. You make them shovel some snow. You make them do certain things so that when they get old, they won't depart and they won't be lazy. You know? They won't be lazy. My children shovel snow. I shovel snow too, but they shovel snow. Sweep up, clean up, wash dishes. They got to do all that stuff. And that's light stuff in comparison. You think one of them kids that was out in the field, if you told him, hey, you got to go wash dishes and clean up your room and stuff, they'll be like, man, I'm getting over. When you working from sun up to sundown, picking cottons and ripping up your hands, you think that was? What did you think that was? So in order to put discipline in them, you got to make them go through some stuff. You got to make them work and make them understand what it is, to get a pair of Jordans over. You earned it, son. You earned it, daughter. Nobody's telling you not to do it for them, but make them earn it. Make them bring home good grades. Don't reward good with evil. You got people, don't reward good for evil that they've given you, because you got people, I know people that children bring home bad report cards and you only angry with them for 2 weeks. You don't even wait for the semester. And then they could get a new phone. They could get new sneakers, new clothes. And your excuse is, well, I don't want my child to. The sneakers you bought them just at the beginning of the school year, they're still fine. Let them go through a little bit of that so that they understand that, they have to do the right thing. Like, those are the things that we have to be on top of. And we have to understand. You don't reward good with the bad for the bad that they've given you. Said they shall always have something to do, somewhere to be. That's right. I remember reading in scriptures that there were 12-year-old kings. Kids now couldn't handle that. There were kings even younger than that. I think there was a 7-year-old king. Right. It teaches them to be more responsible. Absolutely. It says here, says, give him no freedom in his youth and do not ignore his errors. Bound down his neck in his youth and beat his sides while he's young, or else he will become stubborn and disobey you, and you will have sorrow of soul from him. So that's for those undisciplined children. That's for those kids who don't like to take instruction. That's for those kids that do what they want to do when they want to do it. That's for them, right? We have to be on top of them. It says here, discipline your son and make his yoke heavy, so that you may not be offended by his shamelessness. To discipline your son and make his yoke heavy. Oh boy, we don't even know what that make his yoke heavy. Make him work. Don't give him no free time. Don't give her no free time. Only this society allows us leisure time. Yeah, they get some downtime, but just think about a farmer in the Midwest right now that has sons, right? They go to school, right? They come home, they got to work on the farm. During the summertime, they got to work on the farm. You got people that are like, I seen a story with a football player. This is still going on right now. Like places like Florida and places like that, they got what they call day laborers, right? Day laborers or people that go work on the orange patches and peach, places like that. And this is how people make their living. They go there every day and they pick oranges, they pick fruits, strawberries and stuff like that. Those people bring their children with them. When the kids is off of school, because the children earn more money. So if you got 2, 3, 4 sons, You go out there, you got 3 more extra hands that could do it. It was this guy, he was a football player. He got drafted. His family was from Haiti. They were in Florida. Him and his brother got drafted to the NFL. Them guys used to go in the summertime with their parents, and they used to go pick oranges with their parents because that earned the house more money. We wouldn't know what they have until we put them to work. If you have a skill set, if you understand certain things, if you are a carpenter or electrician or whatever, and you have sons and they're already coming of age, take them out to work with you. Make them understand what it is to go out and work. I was working construction at the age of 14. I already had the body and the size for it. So I got put on to work at the age of 14. I remember I used to get paid $300. I used to come and give my mother $150, and I used to keep $150 through that whole summer, right? I said, Ma, here go $150. The other $150 was mine, and that was for me to blow through the week. Buy me new every day. Every week I had to buy some new clothes. That was like when you young and you're not like starving poor, but your mother can't afford everything every week, you know what I mean, or the things that you want. So that $150 was enough for me to get sneakers and an outfit or whatever. I had a new pair of sneakers every week. I went crazy that summer. New t-shirts, new everything, but I earned it. And then you know what happened at the end of the summer, when it was time to go school shopping and stuff like that? My mother had all that money saved up. She had it all saved up, and she took me school shopping. Yep. Said that's why schools used to end in June and go back after Labor Day so that the kids could work the farms. Well, in New York City, the school still ends in June and comes back after Labor Day. That's how it is in New York City still. You be the last week in June is when school ends, and then you go back like 2 days after Labor Day, a day or 2 days after Labor Day. That's how it is in New York City. I know in the South, in certain areas, it's not like that. The kids come out in May and go back in August, but that makes sense, Ima Havaret, what you said right there. So that's just, last week I spoke about how the children should deal with the parents. And now this week I spoke about how the parents should deal with the children. A lot of it, they're a product of what we've created, but a lot of it is our own creation because of what we didn't put into them. Get what I'm saying? So, Torah YAH, for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Thanking the Most High God for all of you who joined us, who came on, and that understand, that get this understanding. I don't know. Well, tomorrow we will be back on this channel, 11 a.m., 11 in the a.m. So once again, thank you all for joining us, for being with us, for making D.C.B your home and the channel that you listen to, that you look at. And I really appreciate each and every one of you who continue to help us, who continue to be with us, who continue to make us move forward in our endeavors and the things that we do. And, it's not easy sometimes, but we appreciate all of you who help support D.C.B, monetarily, spiritually, every which way, who support us. I really, really, we really appreciate it. And from the bottom of our heart, we said, Torah, once again, keep our brother Mordecai in your prayers. his family in your prayers as he lost his Abba this week. May the Most High God bless the memory of Mordecai's Abba, and may the Most High God be with us also. We had our brother Kashum Levy, right? And he said he was speaking to his Ima. I don't know if some of you know who his Ima is, but she's a great elder in Israel, Gever Orah, who is I mean, she goes back. I got to sit down with Gever Orah. She already gave me the okay, but I got to go out there where she's at and sit down with her. And she's sharp. Gever Orah is sharp in the mind. She's an elder, but she's sharp. A lot of our elders are very sharp, you know. I want to interview her, but I want to see if I could find her. Besides her being an educator, she was an educator in the nation. I think she opened up a school. She was one of the people that helped her open up a school, or was part of the school, you know. She definitely was one of the people that were like integral parts in a lot of the things that was happening during those times, you know, from Shabbat Yisrael. Definitely so. I just want to play a little bit of Gever Orah. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Let me share the screen. Let me know if you can hear it. She has this great singing voice.
Amen. And I had a hallelujah good time today. I am so happy because I am.
As you can see, let me stop this other stuff. As you can see, that mother right there, she could really sing, like sing. And that's our brother Kashum Levy's Ima. Yeah, you could, if you type in her name, Gever Ora, there's another video where she's singing I Don't Know Lam also. It's like a couple of songs that I got up there. I think the other one might be on my Uzia Lewy channel. This is how you spell my name, Uzia Lewy. Another song with her. She's a really good singer. So that's for everyone out there. So that's a Don't Know Lam. So family, once again, Torah for joining us. May the Most High God bless each and every one of you. Shalom, shalom. And everyone have a good night. Hallelujah.